welcome back to World of Warcraft, Wrath of the Lich King, Classic Blind. We need to get our talents and abilities under control here. Everything was reset, and now there's more things. So many more things. Also glyphs, apparently. A minor glyph and a major glyph. It's a glyph for your inventory to describe your spellbook. I don't have any glyphs. Okay. We're going to ignore this at least. For right now. Unlocked at level 80. Huh. Cool. That's definitely something. But I need to go through all the talents and figure out what has changed here. I'm going to be keeping track of which can be used in battle stance, defensive stance, and berserker stance. So I can also decide if I want to just stick in berserker stance here. It's very possible. Battle stance increases armor penetration of all abilities by 10%. Just does more damage, I guess, kinda. Defensive stance decreases damage taken by 10% and damage caused by 5%, increasing threat. And berserker stance increases critical hit chance by 3% and damage taken by 5%. Interesting. Really comes down to how does 10% armor penetration compared to 3% critical chance. Also, you don't take more damage in battle stance. Interesting. And defensive stance is defensive stance. Alright, let us go through all the talents. And there's going to be more now, since we can get up to level 80 once the actual update's out. Here's a roll button. You're going to set a roll for this talent set. Determines your default roll when you join a group. It's going to be damage. Damage. It's going to be tank here for protection. Oh, I guess it's just rolls on all of them. I guess it's for just this talent set, which is all of them put together, I guess. Interesting. Alright, let's see what we got. Yeah, basic old heroic strike, which is here. Looks like probably everything. We also need to look at each of these to see if they've changed. So, heroic strike increases melee damage by 234, causing threat and additional damage against dazed targets. Okay. Yeah, deflection, which is parry chance. Improved rend increases bleed damage done by rend by 10%. Should I just look at rend here? Requires battle or defensive stance. Okay. Rend goes here. Wound the target, causes them to bleed for 215 damage plus an additional 475 based on weapon damage over 15 seconds. Oh, that's interesting. I don't think this was based on weapon damage before. So that's a difference. We should probably go through the abilities we already have first here. We got dual wielding, we got auto attacks, blacksmithing master, cooking master, fishing master, frost resistance, weaponsmith, the ability to shoot. We got some toughness. Like hard work spent minus being exceptionally tough, increasing your stamina by 30. Cool. We have mace specialization, racial passive. Expertise with maces and two-handed maces increased by 5. Ah, that's actually really good. I mean, we have a two-handed mace. That's helping out. And gun critical hits doesn't matter a huge amount. We just use it for grabbing stuff. Stone form. Here's charge, which is battle stance only. Generate 15 rage, stun for 1.5 seconds, cannot be used in combat. Yep. Here's Hamstring, which is Battle Berserker. Maims enemy, reducing movement speed by 50%. Here's Heroic Strike. If it doesn't say requires, it's just going to be usable for everything, probably. Yeah, that does damage, lots of threat, and additional damage if they're dazed. Don't know if dazed is the same as like stunned. Probably the same. Or it could be different. There's a lot of things. Mocking Blow is battle and defensive. Causes a moderate amount of threat. Forces the target to focus attacks on you for 6 seconds. And if the target is tauntable, also deals weapon damage. So if that is battle and defensive, that's not really usable. In Berserker stance to get the threat on me. Here's Overpower, which is battle only. Causes weapon damage only after the target dodges, but it cannot be blocked, dodged, or parried. It's very cheap. The enemy has to dodge first, and then you can use it. Rend requires battle and defensive. Now does weapon damage, scaling into it. So that's pretty important. Instead of just being a flat number that didn't really scale well. That's cool. Retaliation is battle only. And 5-minute cooldown on this. Pretty sure this was 30 before. This is like the super best ability. Counterattacking enemy that strikes in melee for 12 seconds. Melee attacks from behind don't count. And can do 20 attacks retaliated back. Every 5 minutes on that. Very cool. Then there is Thunderclap, which is battle and defensive. One of the more AoE kind of deals. Blasting right enemies increasing the time between their attacks by 10% for 30 seconds, and doing 184 damage. Damage increased by attack power causes additional threat. Slams nearby enemies. Doesn't state a maximum number there, so that's interesting. For Fury, we have Battle Shout for everyone. Always a good time. Increasing attack power of all raid and party members within 30 yards by 306. So it looks like it doesn't do anything for people that are not in your group. Interesting. Berserker Rage. Looks like that is all too. You'd think calling Berserker Rage would only work in Berserker stance, but apparently not. Removing and granting immunity to fear, sap, and incapacitate effects. Generate extra rage when taking damage. Very good. Berserker stance is switching to Berserker stance. Challenging Shout forces everybody to attack you. Mostly I want the opposite of that, but it's got uses. Cleave is for everyone. Apparently. It's an attack that does your weapon damage plus 135. To target and his nearest ally. Ah, so Cleave is just 2. Okay, that's good. Commanding Shout. That's everybody. Raises maximum health of all party and raid members within 30 yards by 1,080. Demoralizing Shout, again for everybody. Seems like all the shouts are for everybody still. So that works. Then if you have multiple warriors, everybody can do a different shout. still have our old ranks in these too. I guess anything that didn't get messed up should be fine. Here's Execute, Battle, or Berserker. Finish off a wounded foe, causing 1,098 damage, converting each extra point of rage into 21 additional damage, up to a maximum cost of 30 rage. Oh, it's a maximum now. Pretty sure I used to be able to just dump the entire rage bar into Execute, which is pretty wild. Up to a maximum of 30. So you probably just keep going at that. It's an instant attack. Is a maximum total cost of 30 or is it 45? That would be a slight nerf if you were... I mean, depending on what the numbers are, it could be a slight nerf. If you want to dump your entire rage bar into that. Interesting, though. Intercept. Intercept is Berserker only. Charging an enemy, 140 damage, based on attack power, and stunning for 3 seconds. We have Intimidating Shout. Another shout. Causing 5 enemies within 8 yards to cower in fear. And the targeted enemy will be unable to move while cowering, lasts 8 seconds. So I think this might actually affect the one you're attacking too. That could be good. We got Pummel, which requires Berserker. Interrupting spell casting, preventing any spell from that school being cast for 4 seconds. Recklessness, the old 30-minute Berserker stance. Now down to 5, much like the Battle Stance one was. Next 3 special ability attacks have an additional 100% to critically hit, while damage taken is increased by 20%. Special ability attacks. Or just any ability and not auto attacks, I presume. Here is Slam. Good for everyone. Slams opponent, causing weapon damage plus 140. And is a longer cast, kinda. 1.5 seconds. I guess it all really depends on weapon speed here too. Victory Rush for Battle and Berserker. Attack the target, causing 525 damage. Only within 20 seconds after your previous kill. And the previous kill has to count for experience or honor. Then we have Whirlwind. Berserker only. Whirlwind of Steel. You attack up to 4 enemies within 8 yards, causing melee damage from both melee weapons to each enemy. Lighting? What are you doing? From both melee weapons. Looks like it still works though. It's about fine. And then there is Protection. We got Blood Rage. Works for everybody. Generate 20 rage, cost of health, and generate an additional 10 rage over 10 seconds. I think that might be more than was. It was like 10 and 10 before, I think. That is 30 rage there, at the cost of 711 health. Switch to defensive stance, yep. Disarm is defensive only. Disarm the enemy's main hand and ranged weapons for 10 seconds. Wild. Intervene, defensive only. Run at high speed towards a party member, intercepting the next melee ranged attack made against them, thus reducing their total threat by 10%. We got Revenge, which is defensive. And we have 8 ranks in it because we could. Instantly counterattack an enemy for 1,324 to 1,536 damage. Only usable after the warrior blocks, dodges, or parries an attack. Okay. We got Shield Bash, which can also be used in Battle Stance, as well as defensive. Of course, requires a shield. Dazing your target, interrupting spellcasting, It prevents any spells from that school for 6 seconds. So that's slightly more than, I believe it was Pummel was 4 seconds. Okay. Shield block is defensive. Wow. Who would have guessed? Increase the chance to block and block value by 100% for 10 seconds. Shield wall. The 5-minute cooldown. Defensive. Kind of higher level one. Reduces all damage taken by 60% for 12 seconds. Got spell reflection. For battle and defensive. It reflects a spell. The next one for the next 5 seconds. Stance Mastery. Obtain 10 of your rage points when change stances. That's a passive we have. Sunder Armor. Is used by everyone. Sunders the target's armor, reducing it by 4%. Well, I think that used to be a number of armor. Now it's a percentage. Causes a high amount of threat. They're increased by attack power, applied up to 5 times. So up to a total of 20% sundered. Interesting. So instead of being able to sunder off all of the armor of something lower level, it's still only gonna be 20%. Yeah. Defensive stance. Taunt. Taunt the target to attack you. Has no effects if the target is already attacking you. I mean, it's gonna do the same thing. They will attack you. It's just, you already were doing that. Okay. Now we need to look into the training. Also, there's dual talent specialization. Let's see what that is. The dual talent specialization allows you to keep 2 active talent sets. You'll easily switch between these 2 specializations. When you switch between sets, you'll also gain access to a second glyph pane and a second set of action bars. Switching cannot be done while in combat. It will consume your available resources, so rage. So you could have 2 entirely different things you can switch to anywhere as long as you're not in combat. Fascinating. For 1,000 gold, I do not have that.
Off with you.
I come for the achievement? Or is it achievement about talking to him about something? Yeah, that's fine. And here are all this stuff. We could upgrade Shield Slam through all the levels. We have Shield Slam without having to buy it. Amazing. Do we want to spend all of our money on Shield Slam right now? Probably not. And we could upgrade Heroic Strike again. I actually didn't do that. And not Shield Slam though, not right now. We're probably gonna have some things we need to re-level up here. Alright. Talents. Hook Strike, Deflection, just parry chance. Improving Rend, increases the bleed damage done by 10%. So since it's already based on weapon damage, that's going to cause them to bleed for plus additional. That might just be 10% on the first damage number there. So that'd probably be only like 20. We're still getting an additional 475. Probably not that. Improving Charge. Increase the amount of rage generated by charge by 5. That's quite a bit. Iron Will. Reducing the duration of all stun and charm effects by 7%. Tactical Mastery. An additional 5 of your rage points when you change stances. Greatly increases the threat drained by Bloodthirst and Mortal Strike when you're in defensive stance. You can do that 3 times. So I think we already have a base 10% rage. So get 3 of these and that'd be like 25%. You do a lot with that. Improving Overpower. Increases the critical strike chance of overpower. Anger management. Generate 1 rage per 3 seconds. Impale. Increases critical strike damage bonus of your abilities by 10%. Here's some stuff. We got a lot into big, slow, two-handed weapon and criticals. This just increases critical strike damage by 10%. Then we have Deep Wounds, which continues off of that. Critical strike causes your opponents to bleed, dealing 16% of your melee weapon's average damage over 6 seconds. So that's another thing that scales very well with doing criticals. Two-handed weapon specialization. Increases damage dealt with two-handed melee weapons by 2%. Taste of Blood. Whenever your rend ability causes damage, you have a 33% chance of allowing the use of your overpower ability for 9 seconds. 1 charge. Not occur more than once every 6 seconds. Interesting. So, do a bunch of rends, then you have a chance of just being able to use overpower without needing to worry about the requirement to use overpower. Interesting. There's a lot in here. Pole axe specialization. Critical strikes. Critical damage caused by axes and pole arms. Sweeping strikes. Requires battle or berserker stance. I think this is the first actual ability in here. This is just improved, passive, passive, improved, passive, 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 passive. There's sweeping strikes. This is battle or berserker. Sweeping strikes. Next 5 melee attacks strike an additional nearby opponent. Wow. It's got a 30-second cooldown. Costs 30 rage. Interesting. Mace specialization. Ignore up to 3% of your opponent's armor. Sword specialization. For the chance to get an extra attack of the same target after hitting your target with your sword. Cannot happen more than once every 6 seconds. Weapon mastery. Reduce the chance of your attacks to be dodged by 1%. Reduces the duration of all disarm effects used against you by 25%. Does not stack with other disarm duration reducing effects. Improvement to hamstring. 5% chance to immobilize. Trauma. Your melee critical strikes increase the effectiveness of bleed effects on the target by 15% for 1 minute. So this is another thing that goes well with critical strikes, and then also rend, as that's a bleed. And also, deep wounds also does bleeds. That's just a passive basically again. Second wind. Whenever you're struck by a stun or immobilize effect, it will generate 10 rage and 5% of your total health. Cool. Mortal Strike. 1 point in sweeping strikes, 30 in arms talent. Or some melee weapon. Looks like sweeping strikes you can technically have. You could unlock the sweeping strikes that uses battle and berserker. But it's not required to actually use sweeping strikes first here for Mortal Strike, so I think it goes in the usable by all category. Deals weapon damage plus 85 and wounds the target, using the effectiveness of any healing by 50%. Strength of arms. Increase your total strength and stamina by 2% and your expertise by 2. That's more expertise, which is hit chance and all that. Improving to slam. Decreases the swing time of slam by 0.5. So I can get that nice and quick. Juggernaut. Your charge ability is now usable while in combat, but the cooldown on charge is increased by 5 seconds. Following a charge, your next slam or mortal strike has an additional 25% chance to critically hit if used within 10 seconds. Interesting. Improved mortal strike after mortal strike. Increases damage caused by your mortal strike by 3%. Reduces the cooldown by 0.3 seconds. You get a lot of juggernauts into mortal strikes there. Unrelenting Assault. Reduce the cooldown of your Overpower and Revenge abilities by 2 seconds. Increase the damage done by both abilities by 10%. In addition, if you strike a player with Overpower while they're casting, magical damage and healing will reduce by 25% for 6 seconds. Seems like a lot of things are meshing well with Overpower here. Really would want the one that lets you use Overpower whenever. If I was going to have any of that stuff. Sudden Death. Melee hits have a 3% chance of allowing the use of Execute regardless of the target's health state. In addition, you keep at least 3 rage after using Execute. Interesting. So just a random chance that you can just use Execute whenever. Wild. Endless Rage. Generate 25% more rage from damage dealt. Very cool. Blood Frenzy. Increase melee attack speed by 5%. Addition, your Rend and Deep Wounds abilities also increase all physical damage caused to that target by 2%. Wrecking Crew. Your melee critical hits enrage you, increasing all damage caused by 2% for 12 seconds. Does not stack with Enrage. Increase all damage caused based on doing criticals. And Blade Storm. 1.5 minute cooldown. Right at the bottom here. Instantly whirlwind up to 4 nearby targets, and for the next 6 seconds will perform a whirlwind attack every 1 second. On your effects of Blade Storm, you can move, but cannot perform any other abilities. You do not feel pity or remorse or fear. You cannot be stopped unless killed. So do a whirlwind, and for the next 6 seconds, do a whirlwind every second. So basically do 7 whirlwinds in a row. That's definitely something. It's only 1.5 minute cooldown. I don't think anything else has super long cooldowns anymore. 6 seconds. 30 seconds on sweeping strikes. I think the ones that used to be 30 going down to 5. That's basically the longest now. Interesting. Right. So that is the arms area. Does a lot with Overpower and Bleeds and Whirlwinds. Interesting. Let's look at Fury. Armed to the teeth, or armored to the teeth. Increase your attack power by 1 for every 108 armor value you have. Interesting. That's just a passive, which gives more attack power based on armor value. That would give you a lot more as a tank, since you'd have more armor value. That's okay. Booming Voice. Increases the area effect and duration of Battle Shout, Demoralizing Shout, and Commanding Shout. Area of effect and duration. So it's just duration, basically. And area of effect, kinda. I don't know how often anybody's gonna be more than 30 yards away. So, duration's still something, though. Cruelty. Increase your chance to get a critical strike by 1%. And chuck 5 points into that for 5% more critical strikes. That's great. Improve Demoralizing Shout. Increase the melee attack power reduction of Demoralizing Shout by 8%, 5 times. Unbridled Wrath gives you a chance to generate an additional rage point when you deal melee damage with a weapon. So more rage. Very good. Improved Cleave. Increases the bonus damage done by Cleave by 40%. That's just the bonus damage. It does weapon damage plus 135. And this increases the 135 by 40%, so not a huge amount. Piercing Howl. Looks like it's used for everyone. It's an actual ability here. Causes all enemies within 10 yards to be dazed, reducing movement speed by 50%. I like that one for running away. That's definitely a possibility here. Blood Craze passive. Generate 2% of your total health over 6 seconds after being the victim of a critical strike. Commanding Presence. Increases the melee attack power bonus of your battle shout and commanding. Increases the melee attack power bonus of battle shout and health bonus of commanding shout by 5%. And it's just the bonus there. Do we have that? Battle shout. So instead of being 306, it's 5% more than that. That's something. Dual wield specialization. Increases damage done by offhand weapons by 5%. Improved execute. Reduces the cost of execute. Enrage. 30% chance to receive 2% damage bonus for 12 seconds. Being the victim of a damaging attack. Does not stack with Wrecking Crew. Precision. Gives a chance to hit with melee weapons by 1%. Here's Death Wish. It's 20 points in Fury Talents, usable by anyone. Enraged, increasing physical damage by 20%, increasing all damage taken by 5%. For 30 seconds. Improved Intercept, reduces cooldowns of Intercept by 5 seconds. Okay. Berserker Rage. Makes the Berserker, improve Berserker Rage. The Berserker Rage ability will generate 10 rage when used. Instead of just removing and granting immunity to Fear Sap and Incapacitates. So you get more rage when taking damage, and you start off by just getting some more rage at the start. Flurry. Increase your attack speed by 5% for your next 3 swings after dealing melee critical strike. Okay. So that would go well with doing a whole bunch of criticals. Intensify Rage. Reduces cooldowns of Blood Rage, Berserker Rage, Recklessness, and Death Wish abilities by 11%. So more Death Wishes. And more Berserker Rage. And also Recklessness and Blood Rage. All sorts of good stuff. Here's Bloodthirst. Requires a point in Death Wish and 30 Fury Talent. Just like everyone though. Bloodthirst. Instantly attack target, causing 585 damage. The next 3 successful melee attacks will restore 1% of max health. Lasts for 8 seconds, damage done based on your attack power. 1% of max health. So that would be 81. I think that's more than it used to be. Cool. Improved Whirlwind. Increases damage of Whirlwind by 10%. Furious attacks. Normal melee attacks have a chance to reduce all healing done to the target by 25% for 10 seconds. And stacks up to 2 times. Improved Berserker Stance. Increases strength by 4% and reduces threat caused by 2% while in Berserker Stance. So if you're in Berserker Stance, you can get way more strength from that. Cool. Heroic Fury. 40 points in Fury. Instant. Removes all immobilization effects and refreshes the cooldown of Intercept. You just pop that for instant. Doesn't cost any rage. You just go on in with Intercept. So if anything tries to root you in place, you can just charge at him again. Useful for everyone, it looks like. Okay. Rampage. Gives a range of melee critical hit chance of all party and raid members within 100 yards by 5%. Do you count as a party and raid member? Because if you do, that's just 5% critical chance increase. Blood Surge. Heroic Strike, Bloodthirst, and Whirlwind. 7% chance of making your next slam instant for 5 seconds. Interesting. Unending Fury. Increases damage done by your Slam, Whirlwind, and Bloodthirst abilities by 2%. So that would just be... I see a lot more usage of Slam here, too. And Bloodthirst. Whirlwind. Yeah. And then Titan's Grip. Let you equip two-handed axes, maces, and swords in one hand. We have two-handed weapons equipped in one hand. Physical damage done is reduced by 10%. Let's see, what does that mean? You can equip two-handed axes, maces, and swords in one hand. So, not pole arms, doesn't look like. While you have a two-handed weapon equipped in one hand, your physical damage is reduced by 10%. Quite... Well, you can hold two-handed axes, maces, swords. But in one hand, it's reduced by 10%. But you have two. Then how does that compare with the offhand? You get full damage from the offhand? And you're getting dual-wielding accuracy penalty, possibly? It's interesting. I think our only other two-handed weapon's a polearm, really. I don't know if we would actually even be able to use that, really. Interesting idea, though. And then we have protection. First up, improvements to Blood Rage. Increases rage generated by Blood Rage by 25%. That's okay. Still does damage, but you get more out of it. So that's nice. Shield Specialization. Chance to block with shields increased by 1%. And 20% chance to generate 5 rage when a block, dodge, or parry occurs. So just more defensive. It is the protection defensive area, so that's not too surprising. Improvements to Thunderclap. Reduces cost by 1 rage point. Increases damage by 10%. And slowing effect by 4%. Yeah, Thunderclap was defensive and battle. So this is just bring it more into defensive here too. And you can put some in each of them. So that's an idea. Insight. Increase the critical strike chance of Heroic Strike, Thunderclap, and Cleave by 5%. That's just a critical strike increase, but only for specific abilities. Anticipation. Increases dodge chance by 1%. Last Stand is a actual ability here. Looks like it's used for everyone. Temporary grants you 30% of your maximum health for 20 seconds. After effect expires, the health is lost. Interesting. So you can live for another 20 seconds, theoretically. And if you have any healers, they can get you out of the pit of near death. Dangerous, but useful. Improved Revenge. Increases damage of Revenge by 3%. Does Revenge to strike for an additional target for 50% damage. So it can hit an additional enemy. Interesting. Shield Mastery. Increases block value by 50%. Reduces the cooldown of your shield block by 10 seconds. That's very, very defensive over here. Toughness. Use your armor value from items by 2%. Reduces the duration of all movement slowing effects by 6%. So more armor value. Less slowing. Improvement to spell reflection. Reduces the chance to be hit by a spell by 2%. When the ability is used, it will reflect the first spell cast against the 2 closest party members within 20 yards. So it's like you can cover your party from spells. 2 closest party members. The first cast spell against the 2 closest party members. So, still 1 spell though. Improving disarm, reducing the cooldown by 10 seconds, and the target takes more damage while disarmed. Puncture, reduces the rage cost of Sunder Armor and Devastate by 1. Improved disciplines, reduces the cooldown of Shield Wall, Retaliation, and Recklessness by 30 seconds. Those are the 5-minute cooldown ones now. They're reduced by 30 seconds. That amount of time probably changed here too. To be in line with how much more often you can use these abilities. Concussive Blow. Looks like all. 15 rage, 30-second cooldown, instant. Stun opponent for 5 seconds and deal 443 damage, which is based on attack power. Just an instant attack. Gag Order. Shield Bash and Heroic Throw abilities, 50% chance to silence the target for 3 seconds. Increase the damage of your Shield Slam ability by 5 seconds. Heroic Throw ability. I think I've seen that one. One-handed weapon specialization to go along with your shield specialization. Because physical damage and deal a one-handed melee weapon by 2%. Improvements to defensive stance. All spell damage reduced by 3%. When you block, parry, or dodge an attack, you have 50% chance to become enraged, increasing physical damage caused by 5% for 12 seconds. All spell damage reduced. Cool. Vigilance. Focus your protective gaze on a group or raid target, reducing their damage taken by 3%, and transfers 10% of the threat they cause to you. In addition, each time they are hit by an attack, your taunt cooldown is refreshed. Lasts 30 minutes. Effects can only be on 1 target at a time. That's an attack. Well, kinda. On a group or raid target, reducing their damage taken by 3%, transfers 10% of the threat they cause to you. Use it on a friend. Reduce the rage cost of your offensive abilities by 1. Focused Rage. Vitality. Reduce your total strength by 2%, stamina by 3%, and expertise by 2. That's a whole bunch of strength and stamina and expertise. Very good. Safeguard. Reduces damage taken by the target of your Intervene ability by 15% for 6 seconds. Warbringer. Charge, intercept, and intervene abilities now usable while in combat and in any stance. In addition, your intervene ability will remove all movement impairing effects. You just charge all over the place. What if they share a cooldown? Or if this you can have all of them up and just blasting all over the place. It's pretty wild. Devastate. Requires shields, so not technically. And it's all but with a shield, I guess. Everything else just kind of requires a melee weapon, which is generally what we have here. Devastate. Sunder target's armor causes the Sunder armor effect. In addition, causes 120% of weapon damage, plus 58 for each application of Sunder armor on the target. Sunder armor effect can stack up to 5 times. That's interesting. Do a whole bunch of extra damage to somebody that's already taking a whole bunch of extra damage because of the Sunder armors. Critical block. Successful blocks have a 20% chance to block double the normal amount. Increase your chance to critically hit with your shield slam ability by an additional 5%. So it's for blocks. And also, the shield slam. So, a lot of shields here, of course. Sword and board. Increase critical strike chance of your Devastate ability by 5%. Devastator Revenge ability deals damage, 10% chance of refreshing the cooldown of your Shield Slam ability, reducing its cost by 100% by 5 seconds. Just shield slams for days. Damage Shield. You take damage or block a melee attack, you cause damage equal to 10% of your block value. You take damage from or block a melee attack, you cause damage. Wild. The block value is not huge, though. Our shield has 77 block value. So that would do 7 damage whenever we get hit. And Shockwave. Sends a wave of force in front of the warrior, causing 875 damage based on attack power, sending all enemy targets within 10 yards in a frontal cone for 4 seconds. All enemy targets. That's pretty fancy. Okay. I want to see what our weapons we have are technically. This just says two-handed axes, maces, and swords. Look at that. Then we can decide what we want to pick here, I guess. And we will have another 10 points we can put into stuff as we progress through level 70 to 80. So this is by no means going to be the final build at all. It also all depends on what kind of stuff we get. Technically, we could make another Thunder, since it's a two-handed mace, and that would totally count. But also, technically, we do not have the funds for that. Check here. That's a two-handed polearm. That's a two-handed polearm. I just think that's probably not going to work. There's a two-handed axe. The Honed Void Axe. 81. Got some stuff on it. Look at you.
Off with you.
Let me just grab
Here there.
Jack's Quill and Elby here too.
Watch your back.
So if we compare the stats to what we currently have, it's quite a bit worse than Thunder. Which, I mean, that goes without saying. 1.5. It's got strength, agility, and stamina. Tarak's Quill has a lot of agility. No strength, though. Then Hellreaver is just significantly worse, but it looks cool. I might just try going for the two-handed, because we do have another two-handed axe here. Maybe four-handed. And if it doesn't work out, we can always switch things around. Also, we can check to make sure that Tarak's Quill can't be used, because that would be better. I just think holding two-handed weapons would be wild. Is it the best choice? Probably not. But it'd be cool, so we can check it out.
You got my attention.
If we're gonna do this,
Very good.
we need to go into talents here and go all into Fury to Titan's Grip. Requires 50 points. And it doesn't require a level, per se. So it's not like this is something that requires level 75 or 80 or anything. Just need 50 points, and we have 61 to spend, so. We can give it a shot. We can give it a shot. What else do we get in here? We get Bloodthirst. So that's going to be one of our main attacks. We got Death Wish. That's good. What's our main attack from before? Mortal Strike? Yeah, that one's over here now. This has more bleeds and stuff too. We both put 11 points into here, so we wouldn't even be able to get to deep wounds, really. We can give it a shot. We can always change it back later, or get the dual spec and get a second one. I just want to see how this would go. What are we going to get here? Attack power for armor value. Well, what is our armor value? 5,800. So that would be roughly like 50 more attack value. What's our attack value? Attack power. Speed, damage per second. Melee attack power is 1166, which increases damage to melee weapons by 83 damage per second, which is some of it. I think just, again, stacking more critical strikes here would be good. So for the first 5 points, I'm just going to get critical strikes. Okay. Improving Demoralizing Shout. Additional rage points. I do like Demoralizing Shout quite a bit. Let's put all those in there. Improving Cleave is not too significant. So I can probably do that. Causes enemies to be slowed. I'd like to have Piercing Howl. I'd like to have that available. Drain 2% of your health. Into a critical strike. Increases melee attack power bonus, battle shout, health bonus, commanding shout by 5%. That's really not a huge boost, because it's only 5% of the boost on top of everything else. So it's not actually as impressive as it sounds. Be like 15 more attack power. What I want to do is more rage. Let's get the healing and some additional rage. We put one in there more than we needed. It's okay. Not gonna get dual wielding. Damage boost after being the victim of a damaging attack. 2% damage boost for 12 seconds. 4% damage boost for 12 seconds. After being the victim of a damaging attack, so I think you're gonna get hit by a damaging attack really often. So this could probably get you pretty far to always be doing a bunch of extra damage. Then we still have an extra point here in Unbridled Wrath and in range. What do we got here? Chance to hit with melee weapons by 1%. If we're gonna be dual wielding, and that's probably gonna take the accuracy penalty, probably want all of the chance to hit I can possibly get. And Death Wish. Reduces cooldown on intercept. Nah. Let's get more enrage. Increases attack speed 5% for next 3 swings, dealing melee critical. Berserker Rage will generate 10 rage when used. If we start using Berserker Rage more often, get more rage from that, it could be good. What else do we have here? Additional rage. More often. Attack speed. We have a really slow weapon, so attack speed might be useful. After dealing a melee critical strike, 2 more critical strikes. And doing faster attacks would just mean more critical strikes and more damage. But anything that works off of instant attack, that's not going to really help with. Let's put a few in here. Alright, Bloodthirst. Take that. Reduce the cooldown of Blood Rage, Berserker Rage, Reflexes, and Death Wish abilities by 11%. Death Wish is a 3-minute cooldown. Recklessness is 5 minutes. That would let us do a lot more Death Wishes and Recklessness is Blood Rage. Don't really need more Blood Rages, really. And Berserker Rage, use that a lot. That's cool. Improved Whirlwind, damage of Whirlwind ability. We just do a whole bunch of Whirlwinds. Weapon damage from both melee weapons. We have both melee weapons. Let's get some Whirlwinds going. We need 2 more points spent in here. Reduces cooldown by 11%. That'd be good. Someone there. Melee attacks have a chance to reduce all healing done to target by 25%. Increases strength by 4% and reduces threat caused by 2%. I mean, this is just flat up more strength. Let's take all that. Okay. We're down to this level. Removes any more immobilization effects and refreshes cooldown of intercept. That could be good for running around, if that's too necessary. This range and melee critical hit chance of all party and raid members within 100 yards. The real question is, does that increase my melee critical hit chance all the time? I'll take it anyways. That's a passive. Oh, it's on me right now. Increase range melee critical hit chance by 5%. So that's more crits. Making slam instant. Not too excited by that. We have to get slam. It makes it slam instant. 7% chance though. That's a lot like the overpower situation where I need to have a thing happen and then a thing can happen. Removing immobilization effects could be nice. But that would help me run away, possibly. Take that. A few more. That's about it. And that's just going to give us an instant cooldown on intercept, so I don't really need more intercept cooldown. We get more attack power. It'd just be good. More attack speed. More cooldowns. Just let's take some of these. We don't have tank level armor. This is going to let us do a little bit more damage all the time. Brings us down to here. Unending Fury. Damage done by Slam, Whirlwind, and Bloodthirst. I think Bloodthirst is going to be our go-to all-the-time attack. So if we just do 10% more damage with that, and then Whirlwind is our other one gonna really like to do. So seems like a good idea to me. And that gets us Titan's Grip. So we have 10 points. I want to put some stuff in arms maybe, so we can get Parry Chance, Heroic Strike, Rend, Rage Points, Charge, Blood Rage, Thunderclap. Really be able to use. Bloodthirst is good for everyone. See if there's anything we can really get with only 10 points. How do we get to 10 points? Are we at 11? No, we're at 11. We got Titan's Grip. This is down at 10. Okay. Anything we can get in here with 10 points we really want. Heroic Strike, Parry Chance, Bleed Damage, more for switching stances. Increase the Bloodthirst and Moral Strike in defensive stance, doesn't matter. Use chance of stuns and charms. More from Charge, which is only battle stance. I don't think that's really gonna help us too much here. More Rage from Blood Rage. It's a maybe. It does do damage though. Rage generated by 25%. Maybe a little bit. And Thunderclap won't be able to really use. Dodge Chance. Looks like chance of Hero Strike, Thunderclap, and Cleave. Let's put some more points in here, I guess. These maxed. We could put more points into this one for additional rage. Just a little bit more attack power, maybe? Don't really need to reduce the cost of execute. More speed. Or reduced cooldowns. Instant slam. Stuff with slam. Not really too excited about instant slam. It's an idea though. I'll just put into stuff that's always gonna be helpful. Let's get more Unbridled Wrath. More, like, that's maxed, good. More speed. Everything that we currently have is maxed out to the max. Stance, Flurry, Precision, Blood Craze, Piercing Howl. Well, let's... Yeah, let's just try for the slam. Alright. Oh, that's all of them we can put in there. Okay. One more. Let's get more attack power from Battle Shout. And there we have it. Our new setup. Is it good? Debatable. But we're going to have to go through and put all of the abilities on the bar correctly. Let's see what we can do here. It's two-handed. Yeah, that's working. Times 90%. Let's see, put these in here. Oh, it does work. Okay. Why doesn't it say pole arms then? Wild. And the offhand does take a damage penalty for being offhand. So 193, 89.6, 215.2. Cool. So we lose a bit from there. Then we also get the agility and stamina attack skill, so that's more agility, giving increased critical chance to 36%. Yeah, some hit rating. Might want to bump that up. Expertise is 5 out of 0. Use chance to dodge. This rating 0. Plus 0 expertise. No, it says 5. We have no haste. So it's 193 plus 89.6. Wow. Is this a good strat? Hard to say. This is 89.6. This one's 86.7. 198.6. This one has more strength in it. Might be about the same, honestly. $192.8. Oh. 186.1. Definitely gives more. I think the plus strength on the offhand might actually be the play here. Because if it's like the gun, we get the stats as pure stats. 108.6. Sound like 5, roughly. It's from 89, 86. I think this might actually, the axe might actually be better on the offhand. Because they're losing less than we're gaining. 6.7. That's like plus 3, but it's minus 5. What about the crit chance? 1%? It's gonna be similar. It's gonna be similar. .56. It's like 0.75% crit chance. And a lot of stuff comes with crit chance. That matters. So a very, very tiny difference in damage per second. And a bit more health on the axe here too. But this has more crit chance, which is also something we're working with, so. We will keep these around for now. I think we really need to look into our hit chance here too. Because at this point, I think we need all the hit chance we can get. Because I am very much assuming I am taking the dual wielding hit chance penalty here. And that was pretty severe. We also have some more hit chance in here. 4% total. Hit. That's hit rating. Increase the chance by 5%. We got some stuff in here with hit chance. Probably fine.
Talk to me.
Put these away for now. I think we can safely say we don't care about one-handed weapons at this point. Really don't need one-handed weapons. And let's look at... I think we need to just look at all this gear later. It's a lot to deal with right now. But we have 2 weapons, because why not? We'll see how this plays out. Next time. Goodbye.